All righty. Well, welcome everybody. We're here for another great winter webinar series. My name is Jeff Glover, and I'm so excited to be with you guys because we're going to be going through a really awesome topic that means a lot to me. It has to do with on the seller side of business. We introduced a model at our summit a few weeks ago called Plaqu. I'm going to get into a little bit about that today. But also we're going to be talking about value proposition. What value propositions are attracting sellers? What value propositions are we using to get sellers to work with us, to get sellers to want to hire us, to get sellers to reach out to us? Today's session is all about attracting more sellers and closing more sellers, obviously, once we have a chance to present to them. So first things first, I want to see where everyone's joining us from today. So in the chat, before you type anything, it defaults to hosts and panelists. Change that to everyone, all right? So that way everyone can see what you're saying. So change the chat to everyone. And I want to see where you're joining us from. Where are you at around the US and Canada? Where are you joining us from? Awesome. All right. Florida in the house. Boca Raton, love it. Denver, the UK. Welcome, Wendy from the UK. Awesome. Good to have you. Ontario, Canada. Love it. Arkansas is in the house. Georgia, California. All right. All right. Sugarland. All right. There we go. That's awesome. So good to see so many of you guys from all over the place. Amelia Island, beautiful. Virginia Beach, Traverse City. Hey, I was just there. My snowmobiles are still up there. Nova Scotia joining us. All right. Well, welcome, welcome. All right. Well, let's do this. I've got a lot that I want to get to. So thank you all for letting us know where you're joining from. And I know a lot of you will end up watching the replay or will end up listening to this on the podcast. So thank you for joining us if you're listening on the podcast or if you're watching the replay. So for those that are first timers, and I know we always have a handful of first timers on, I want you to take advantage of a few of these resources that I'm going to share with you. And before I get into those resources, for my very first timers, if you're not familiar, my name is Jeff Glover from Detroit, Michigan. I've been listing and selling real estate now for 22 years. I'm in my 22nd year. And if I'm in your shoes, I might be wondering, why should I pay attention to today's webinar? Why should I listen to what this guy has to say? And I'll answer that in one or two sentences. And that is because I'm in it with you. I know we've got a lot of great options today, a lot of great trainers, a lot of great coaches. And probably the biggest difference between myself and the rest of them is that I'm still selling a lot of real estate. Just to give you an idea, over the last decade, I have personally averaged over 100 transactions a year myself over the last 10 years. Over the last 10 years, our real estate team has been the number one home selling team in the state of Michigan for 10 out of the last 11 years. And we do somewhere between 900 and 1,000 units a year with, about 38 full-time salespeople. So if you were wondering why you should pay attention to what I have to say, there you go. And more specifically, today's topic on the listing side, just to give you an idea, a bad month for us is maybe 70, 75 listings per month. A good month for us is 100 to 125 listings per month. For myself personally, a bad month would be 4 or 5 listings a month. A good month, 7 to 10 listings per month. Why am I sharing that with you? Again, I'm not sharing that with you to brag. I'm sharing it with you to help you understand that what I'm going to be sharing today is not stuff that I read in a book somewhere or somewhere that I saw online. I'm sharing with you, quite simply, what it is we're doing, how we're winning. I had somebody come up to me at one of our half-day sessions in Salt Lake City not too long ago, and the gentleman said, "Hey, I want to do what you do one day, but I have a question." I said, "Okay, what's that?" He said, "Well, I noticed that your content always seems to be several months to a year ahead of everyone else." I said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" He said, "Well, I'll hear you say something on your podcast or at your events or whatever, and then I won't really hear it again for like another year, and somebody else will be taking it and regurgitating it." Well, first of all, that's a compliment that happens, number one. But number two, how does that happen? Well, that's because what I share is what I do. So I don't have to really like think about content. People are like, "Where do you come up with all this content?" Honestly, I just kind of reflect on what it is we do and I share it. So for our first timers, welcome. Thank you for taking a chance on us. I want to get you some free resources. So do me a favor. Who currently subscribes to our daily message? Show of hands if you're currently subscribing to our daily message. Just say me or throw a hand raiser down there in the chat. I want to see what kind of subscribers we have to the daily message. Awesome. All right, good. A lot of you guys are getting the daily message. Perfect. So if you're getting the daily message currently, just sit tight for 90 seconds while I explain what this is. So every day, I write a message that's specifically designed to help you list and sell more real estate. Sometimes it's I went on an appointment last night. Here's an objection I got from the seller. Here's how I handled it. Other times it's um, like marketing based. Here's something I changed in my social media post. All of a sudden, I had a lot more engagement and I had 1 or 2 leads from it. Every day, I'm writing a message to help you list and sell more homes. So to take advantage of that, I'm going to give you this gift for free. It's a free resource. If you don't get the daily message, all right, take out your cell phones and open up your text messages. I'm going to show you how to get it. Take out your cell phones and open up your text messages. And also, if Alana, if you're listening behind the scenes, and I'm sure you are, can you message Taylor and tell her to bring in a listing folder for me, a listing plan of action? I'm going to need that today. I know we're going to throw that up on the screen, but I want to have a physical copy. So if you could message her to do that, please. So you're going to text the word morning to 55444. I know it's only like 5 digits, but it works. Text the word morning to 55444. And within like 30 seconds, it's going to ask you your first name, your last name. Now watch, if you're in Canada, basically if you're not in the US, so it's great to see some people from all over the globe. If you're not in the US, we can still sign you up for the daily message. Just email us info@gloveru.com and tell us you want to sign up for the daily message. We'll get you signed up. Just email info@gloveru.com. But for everyone else in the US, you're going to text the word morning to 55444. It's going to ask you your first name, your last name, your email. Just like that, you're signed up. Now, for those of you the second resource that I want to make sure you're getting access to is our GloverU app. And the reason why you want to have the GloverU app on your phone, and this is easy to do even if you're not in the US, obviously, we are constantly sharing resources for free. We probably give away more than we ever charge for. And we give away all of our stuff through the app. There's things online right now that people are paying for on our website on gloveru.com that you can get for free in the app. So take advantage of that. Just go to your app store, search GloverU. Actually, the new resource, just to give you an idea, that's coming out, you're going to see we use a cumulative board. We shared this a couple weeks ago at our summit in Phoenix. We created this for our team. I've used this personally my whole career. And we are going to give you a copy. It's being built right now, or might already even be in the app. Anyways, it's going to be in the app in like the next week or 10 days. So you'll be able to use the cumulative board just like I use in my own business. All right. So check out that new free resource, especially for those of you that have been getting the daily message. If you don't have the app, thank you. If you don't have the app, can I get the luxury one too? If you don't have the app, and I'm sorry, and the commercial one, luxury and commercial. If you don't have the app, go get it. You can find it in your app store. Just search GloverU for that. All right. The last resource that I want to share with you that we're giving away is our 2025 business plan. So the exact same plan that I'm using in my personal business and that people are using, all across the country now, our coaching clients are, you have access to 2 things. Number one, I'm going to gift you a free 90-minute instructional video. And I'm also going to gift you a PDF copy of the plan. How you get your hands on it, super simple. Just go to gloveru.com/plan. gloveru.com/plan, PLAN. You'll get my 2025 business plan, the same one I'm using in my personal business. There it is in the chat. And you're also going to get a PDF of it. You'll see when you click on the YouTube link in the comments or whatever on the YouTube link, that's where the PDF link is to the plan. So go get that. It's free. All right. Those are the 3 free resources I want to share. So we got the daily message. You're texting the word morning to 55444. You got the GloverU app. Go find that in your app store. And also go take advantage of that plan. Okay. And I'm getting messages that the webinar is at max capacity. I'm not sure how that happens because I think we have an unlimited account, but Zoom was a little interesting this morning. It took me a couple different links to try to get in. So I'm glad you guys are all here. Trust me, if we can squeeze some more people in, I'm sure that we will. Okay. So let's talk about today's topic. All right. First, I want to share with you the Plaqu concept. And the Plaqu concept is something that I presented at our summit a couple weeks ago. Okay, so write this down. Just write PLACS. What is the Plaqu concept? All right, so the Plaqu concept, and it's pronounced plaques like plaques on the wall. And the reason why I did this is because if you follow this model, you will have a lot of plaques on your wall. Okay, that was kind of the thought process behind me putting together, PLACS. And so, what is the plaques model? So I'm going to share with you the plaques model in just a second. But before I do, I want to share something that's really important about today's topic. I take that back. Let me share the plaques model, and then I'll get into why part of the Plex model is important. So let's do that first. So if you're taking notes, I want you to write down the letter P. Okay, by the way, you should have received a link to the workbook. If not, they'll drop that in the chat. You're going to want the workbook because there's some free resources in there that I didn't mention. So grab that workbook, get it pulled up as a PDF or whatever. But if you're taking notes in a Google Doc or on a pad of paper, I want you to write down the letter P, and next to that, I want you to write pre-appointment. So letter P, and next to that, write down pre-appointment. And under pre-appointment, I want you to write these categories down. And I call them categories because there's like subcategories within them. But under pre-appointment, I want you to write these down. Ready? Online reputation. Online reputation. Yep, there's the workbook in the chat. Online reputation. Social media perception. Social media perception. Online reputation. Social media perception. Reviews. Reviews. Mass advertising. Mass advertising. So what I'm giving you today, I'm giving you all the things that are included in our pre-appointment routine. Now, not all of this is going to apply to you, and that's okay. You're going to get there. You're going to get to that point. There were several people at our conference 2 weeks ago that they could literally go home and check off each one of these categories and implement them into their business. You might say, well, Jeff, I'm not at the point where I can afford mass advertising. That's okay. I wasn't at that point for a while too, but I'm giving you what we do, and I'm going to go a little deeper on it. Obviously, I'm going to share with you some examples. And some of the stuff you're going to add later. And it's okay. You don't have to add it all at once. So we have online reputation, social media perception, reviews, mass advertising. Okay. By the way, our definition of mass advertising would be like radio, billboard, TV, Hulu. You can do Hulu ads, YouTube TV ads. That's mass advertising. Under pre-appointment, we have social media lead spend. Media lead spend. Social media lead spend. Underneath social media lead spend, I want you to write YouTube channel. YouTube channel. Under YouTube channel, I want you to write Facebook group activity. Facebook group activity. Underneath Facebook group activity, I want you to write down database marketing. Database marketing. Database marketing. Database marketing. Underneath that, I want you to write down hybrid farming. Hybrid farming. Hybrid farming. And then finally, pre-appointment packaged. Pre-appointment package. Pre-appointment package. Pre-appointment package. Okay, so a couple things here that I want you to think about. And for those of you that have been following us for a minute, or maybe you went to the tour, one of our tour stops, or maybe you were at the summit in Phoenix a couple weeks ago, this will be a refresher for you. If you've been, I want you to understand something. If you've been in the business 10 years or more, I want you to put the number of years you've been in the business in the chat. Okay, if you've been in the business 10 years or more, put the number of years you've been in the chat, just if you've been in it 10 years or more. All right, if you're less than 10, just sit tight. If you're less than 10, then you actually have a little bit of an advantage on this. If you've been in there 10 years or more, 10 years or more. All right, wow, I'm seeing some pretty good years here. 33 years. Congratulations on that. 33. Is that our highest so far? 33? 40? All right, 40 years. Carol Craig, congratulations. A lot of 20s. Okay, 10 years or more. Drop it. 41, Michelle. All right. I haven't seen more than 41 yet. All right. We got to get whoever's been in the longest, we got to get you a prize. We'll get you, I tell you what, for our marketing team listening back behind the screen here, whoever is the most, we're going to get you a $25 gift card to our Live Unreal swag shop so you can get yourself some gear at our next event. 204 months. All right, Matt. There we go. That's one way to do it. 42, Melody. Good to see a Melody from Kalamazoo. There's a 42. All right. Anyone more than 42? Okay. All right. So it looks like Melody, you might be the winner. If anyone's more than 42 years, drop it in the chat. But anyways, here's the deal. And marketing team, if you could message Melody and get her some Live Unreal swag. So congratulations, all of you guys, for being 10 years or more. Why did I have you do that? Okay, I had you do that because here's what we know. Today's consumer, hear me loud and clear on this for my 10 years or more people. Today's consumer makes their decision on who they're going to hire differently than we're used to. Okay, so think about this for a minute. All right, for those of you that are 10 years or less, oh, all right, Donna is 42 years also. You got some swag coming too then, Donna. We'll message you. Think about, for those of you that are 10 years or more, when we would go on listing appointments 10 years ago, there was no Facebook. I mean, there was Facebook, but nobody was using it for business. There was definitely no Instagram, or if there was an Instagram, like it was just a bunch of kids using it. There was no Google My Business. There were no Zillow reviews. Think of all the things that consumers have today at their fingertips that they didn't have 10 years ago. In fact, 10 years ago, it was just go present and make a great presentation. In fact, all of the trainers that went before us, the names, Floyd Wickman, Mike Ferry, all those great trainers that we've all learned a lot from through the years, or at least I have, they would say, you got to have a dialed in listing appointment. And don't get me wrong, we teach that too. You guys know that in Listing Mastery, we actually dissect the listing appointment, and you send in your listing appointment, and I critique it. And, it's a big part of the process. However, watch this. What happens at the kitchen table, which 10 years ago, it was everything at the kitchen table was make or break. Today, what happens at the kitchen table, I'm convinced, based on my experience of listing and selling alongside you right now, I'm convinced that that's actually only 50% of the process. What happens at the table? Well, what do you mean by that, Jeff? Consumers are making their mind up of who they're going to go with before you even get there. Consumers are making a decision of who they're going to hire before you even arrive, because they have so much at their fingertips today that they didn't have 10 years ago. So part of what I'm going to teach you during the Plaqu model is how to improve your plan of action, how to improve your value proposition to get them to want to hire you before you even get there. Because that's the difference today. For my 10 plus years or more, anyone that's been doing this 10 years or more, you would literally go out, you would take your listing presentation, seller guide, and you'd flip through it, and you'd make a good presentation, and they would hire you or they wouldn't, and that was it. They had nothing to go off of. Maybe reputation in the neighborhood, maybe word of mouth, but there was no Google reviews, there were no Zillow reviews, there was no Facebook stalking or Instagram stalking 10 plus years ago. Their decision was made based on what happened at the kitchen table. And what I'm telling you as a practitioner with you, okay, number one agent in the state for 10 out of the last 11 years of all brands, what I'm telling you today that is only 50% of the reason why they hire me. What is the other 50%? Everything I just mentioned under the pre-appointment. So let's talk about that for a second. So I want to focus on during this webinar, because I've only got you for an hour. So obviously I can't share everything, but I'm going to share as much as I can to put you in a position to where you can win. So what do I think about? There's really two areas of opportunity that I think about, okay? That I think that you can make some adjustments in and continue to receive those come list me calls that you can make an adjustments in and by the way, I just realized I need to follow up with a with a lead that came in for me this morning. Okay, that happens sometimes. So I'm sure it happens to all of us, right? Um, so where are those two areas that I think you can make the fastest adjustments? Okay, because when you look at that list, online reputation, social media, reviews, mass advertising, that's a lot of stuff. Okay. And for those of you that have taken my listing mastery course, you know we go deep on all those topics. That's where they come from. But there's a couple that I'm going to go deep on today. Okay. And number one is social media because I believe you have an opportunity to create a reputation as a strong listing agent on social media by doing the following. And I'm actually going to give you things that you can do as a strong listing agent to change the perception. Because what the perception needs to be, if I'm following you on Instagram or if I'm a friend of yours on Facebook, the perception needs to be that you're a strong listing agent. Without question, if I can gather that perception just by pulling up your Instagram or just by pulling up your Facebook, there's a likelihood that I'm going to message you when I have a home to sell and say, hey, I see you're doing a lot in this space. I see you're doing a lot with sellers. I see you're getting a lot of homes sold, whatever. I know it sounds crazy and I know it sounds almost too good to be true because people talk a lot about social media and likes and clicks and comments and emojis and all this other stuff. But you know what they don't talk a lot about? You know what you hear a lot of trainers not touch? They don't talk about leads. Jeff, that's great that I have all these followers. That's great that I have all these clicks and these likes and these comments, but what about leads? Okay. I'm going to teach you right now the things that you can put out on social media that doesn't just get engagement, it actually gets you leads. So let me share with you if you want to create a, a, a perception that you're a strong listing agent in your market, that on social media, I want you to start posting regularly about the following. This is where our leads are coming from. This is how when I look at, people reaching out and saying they want to sell their home via social media, it's because they're seeing all of this stuff on social media. It's because they're seeing us be active with these types of things on social media. So what are we sharing? Okay, write this down. First, before I get into the specifics, please write this down. The public perception, the public perception must be, write this down. The public perception must be that I'm a strong listing agent. The public perception must be that I'm a strong listing agent who works hard, that I'm a strong listing agent who works hard and enjoys life. That I'm a strong listing agent who works hard and enjoys life. All right. Why do I say enjoys life? Well, because we got to mix some personal stuff in there. They want to see that you're human. Besides, the personal stuff will help you get engagement anyways. I'm a strong listing agent who works hard and enjoys life. That's who people want to do business with. Someone who works hard and enjoys life, and specifically sellers, because when it comes to coaching at Glover U, I'm the seller coach. All right. I'm the one that teaches you how to become strong listing agents. The only program that I teach at Glover U is listing mastery for a reason, because that's my specialty. So, what are specific things then I can do to give that perception, Jeff? I'm going to give you the list now. Write this down. And these are in no particular order. I can share regular market statistics, specifically ones that appeal to sellers. I can share regular market statistics, specifically ones that appeal to sellers. What are things that appeal to sellers? List price to sales price. What are things that appeal to sellers? Days on market. What are things that appeal to sellers? The increase in home values. Buyers don't want to hear about an increase in home value. Yeah, Jeff, that's why I don't really share a lot of market stats because I don't want to discourage buyers. Well, you're on this session to be a strong listing agent. Okay. If you're on this session, then that means you made a decision to make sellers your focus. And if you're going to make sellers your focus, does that mean you might lose a buyer here and there? Absolutely. Now, you can handle both sides of business, no doubt. But if you make the decision to be a strong listing agent and you follow what I'm teaching you, is it possible that a buyer or two may go in a different direction? Heck yeah, it is, but that's okay. You're going to have more sellers than you know what to do with. So, market stats that share specific data that would appeal to sellers. Your stats come out once per month. And I don't want just generic, like stats for your state or even your county. Get specific. What else do I want you to show on social media to help check that box of I'm a strong listing agent who works hard and enjoys life? Share my results. Share your results. What are the results you get with sellers? Share, whenever you have a sale, a listing sale with low days on market, a listing sale with multiple offers, a listing sale with a significant amount over the asking price, share your specific results. When I think about our mass advertising campaign, for those of you that are in the Michigan area, you probably can recite them because there was really only four things that I promoted at any given time. Now, today we've moved money away from mass advertising into social media, but the messaging has been very consistent, and that is no one gets you more, meaning more money for your home. No one does it faster. No one gets you more. No one does it faster. No one markets more. Now I can say that because, no one else in the state was spending the amount of money I was spending on advertising. No one gets you more. No one does it faster. No one markets more. And in my case, no one sells more. Those were our four, was and is our four messages to the market. So, well, Jeff, I can't use a lot of those messages. Well, hold on a second. How do you know you don't have the best list price to sales price ratio in a particular zip code? How do you know you don't have the best days on market in a particular area? Go look and see how you compare to other agents in your market. You might have a marketing message there that you don't know you have. So number two is results. Number three, I wrote down, what do I show on social media? Show some before and afters. Just write down before and afters. I'll explain. Okay, again, this is all designed to create the perception that you're a strong listing agent. It's not going to get you clicks and likes and comments. It's going to get you leads. Now, of course, the clicks and the likes and comments all help with that. Before and after. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, if you get permission from a seller, or maybe it's a vacant house, so they don't care because the house is vacant anyways, and you go in there and you tour the home for the first time, and you make a list of recommendations to them, while you're in there, even if it's on your phone, snap some photos of the before. Because if you tell the seller, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if it's all right with you, I'm going to do a little thing on your, obviously we're going to get professional photography, whatever your script is. And if it's all right with you, I would like to do a little bit of a before and after on social media, what it looks like right now, what it's going to look like after staging, what it's going to look like after you paint that room, what it's going to look like after, you get the place ready. And that alone will get us some good engagement and cause some interest. Some sellers might say, well, I don't want anyone to see the before. The before is not going to be on Zillow or Realtor.com or in the MLS. This is just going to be on my social media. People like before and after. It's a thing, right? You do it yourself. You probably click on things all the time. Think about all of the listings you go on where you give them a list of recommendations. Snap some photos when you're in there before, especially, obviously when you get the listing. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to create a ton of engagement around your property, a ton of interest around your property, because I'm going to show a before and after. Now, I know you might not feel great about a before and after because people are seeing the before, but trust me when I tell you it's going to create a lot of engagement and create a lot of leads and interest in your home. With your permission, I'd like to do that as part of our plan of action. Is that okay? Yeah, that I don't like people to see the before, but sure, if you say it's going to help, bingo, before and after. Add that to your listing plan of action. Next, I wrote down sold signage. Sold signage. Yeah, there you go, Donna. If you do staging as part of your listing, I love that. Before and after. Again, when they get concerned, well, I don't want people to see the before photos. It's not going to be on Zillow. We're not going to put the before and after on Realtor.com. The before and after is just my social media. Now, watch, stepping out of the role play for a second. Will you get interest on that home? For sure you will. You probably might have a few people reach out to you about it. But you know what else you'll get? You're going to get the reputation that comes along with being an expert in helping sellers sell for top dollar. That's why you're doing it. If you get a lead or two, that's bonus. That's gravy on top for the house. But you're doing it to create the perception of being a strong listing agent. Sold signage. Okay. Now, what do I mean by sold signage? I mean like the classic sold sign. Okay. Oh, sold another one. Oh, sold another one. Oh, sold another one. Okay. I don't care what age group they're in. Everyone knows the classic yard sign and the sold rider or the sold sticker. Well, what do I do with that, Jeff? Every time you sell a listing, you're getting a selfie or you're bringing somebody along to take a photo of you putting the sold sign on or you putting the sold sign across the lumber there. You can do a simple selfie of you holding it and putting it with the house in the background. By the way, selfies get great engagement. Okay, you're holding up the sold sign, the house is behind you. That will get great engagement. Like every time, yes, every time. The more you show that you're selling listings, the more the perception is that you're a listing agent. The more the perception is that you're a listing agent, the more sellers you will attract. What else do we show on social media? Closings. 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 What do you mean, closings? Literally, you sitting around a closing table closing. We have one of our top agents on our team. His name's Sean. He does 125, 130 units a year. Every single time he's in a closing, do you know what he does? He takes a picture of like a kind of incognito photo, like one of these or whatever, of the closing table. He doesn't even get people's faces in it, which is fine. And he just gets everyone's hands holding pens and signing. Every single time he's at a closing, he puts that on his story. What does that do? That creates a perception. Man, every time this guy turns around, he's in a closing. That's the perception you want as a strong listing agent. Okay, now you can take it a step further and get some permission and take a photo with your clients. Okay, less photos of real estate, more photos of you and your clients. Did you hear me out about that? Less photos of real estate, more photos of you and your client. Now, the before and after, obviously, you're going to have photos of real estate. But I want more photos with your face or your client's face in it. Those will always get you better engagement. Closings. A photo with your clients at the closing, in front of the closing room, in front of the office. Next. What do I show on social media? My marketing plan of action. My marketing plan of action. What do you mean? Well, watch, okay? I have a couple here in front of me. I asked them to bring them in. Okay. If I have a marketing plan of action, and I'll show that I'll have them throw it up on the screen as well. Actually, yeah, if you can just do that now, since I'm talking about the marketing plan of action, can you throw whatever marketing plan of action we have? I'll tell you where to scroll to. All right, yeah, that one works. So scroll to the page where it has everything. There we go. Okay. The reserve marketing approach. Now, this is a luxury one, and I have this same one in front of me here. But you could take literally every single one of these points. Okay, there's 12 on here. Let me see if we have do we have the average one behind the scenes? Okay, the average one has 17. Do we have, yeah, there it is. Okay, good. Yep, there we go. All right, so just leave that one up for a second. So, by the way, side note, if you're taking notes on this, write this down. Your marketing material should match your ideal clientele. There's a reason why I have in front of me here. Okay, take that down for a second, sorry, just so I can hold these up. There's a reason why I have in front of me here. Okay, then this is just 3. We've got 2 or 3 more. Okay, these are all plans of actions that we take out on listing appointments. Now watch. They all have different colors, different font looking house than this one here. This one's got like commercial buildings on it. We have marketing material for every single type of client we meet with. Why? Because if I go on a luxury appointment with this, okay, this is probably a, $500,000 house in Plymouth, Michigan. If I go on a list, or maybe more than that, probably 650 maybe. If I go on a luxury appointment with this, 1.5 to 2 million, they're going to say, huh, seems like you just handle kind of the small stuff. You're giving them a built-in objection right from the material. So now if I'm going on a 1.2, 1.5, I'm going to bring material that looks like their home. if I'm going on an appointment that looks like this, you better believe I'm not bringing out material like this. So what are we doing here? We're creating marketing material to match the clientele that we present to. We're creating marketing material to match the clientele that we present to. If I go on a commercial or a condo, all right, I'm going to have something with commercial buildings or condo buildings on the cover. Make sure your material matches the clientele. All right, Alana, go ahead and throw back, or marketing team, whoever's running it, throw the 17 plan of action back up. The 17 one. There we go. Okay. When I go on a listing appointment, what you're looking at, and by the way, for those of you that end up joining me in the listing mastery program, all this material, you guys end up getting all of this stuff. This is part of our listing mastery program, but I'm giving you kind of a sneak peek today into it. So what you're looking at is our 17-point plan of action. You can take a picture of it or screen grab it or whatever. And the reason why I had them pull this up on the screen during this point is because we're just still talking about what I do prior. Well, wait a minute, Jeff. What does your listing plan of action have to do with prior to the appointment? Well, there's two things here. Number one, we're sending a pre-appointment package, which I'll get into that in just a second. But number two, I can take each one of those 17 points, okay? I can take each one of these 17 points, you see it on your screen there, and I can turn this into a social media post. I can turn each one of these into a video. I can go find a photo that's going to fit with each one of these, and now I have 17 pieces of content for my social media to show my friends and my followers that I specialize in helping sellers. So what I want your takeaway there is I want you to think about, first of all, what's on my listing plan of action, and how can I take each one of the items on my listing plan of action and turn that into a marketing tool. You're not just using it to present to a seller at a kitchen table anymore. You're taking it and turning it into a marketing tool. You know what else you know what else we do with these 17? Obviously, as you can imagine, doing this for 22 years, we've got a pretty sizable database. Well, every now and again, usually around springtime, we'll run a seller campaign with our database. Well, what is our seller campaign? Once a week for 17 weeks, we send an email of all the things we do to get top dollar for sellers and help them sell quickly. That's part of our plan of action to our database in the spring. We're taking each one of these 17 and we're turning it into an email campaign. So once a week for 17 weeks, our database is hearing that we specialize, and they're seeing that we specialize and work with sellers. Well, Jeff, what happens if they don't have a home to sell? I don't care whether they have a home to sell or not. They'll refer us because we created the perception that we specialize in working with sellers. See how that all comes together. So when I say, what do I show on social media, Jeff, do you like take this thing and just put this on social media? No, I'm not sharing this to social media. I'm taking each one of the 17 and I'm creating a video or finding a photo to fit it. And now I have 17, in this case, 17 weeks of content. Best time to do that, obviously, when a lot of people are ready to list their home for sale. What else do I show on social media? Any new techniques that you're using to sell homes. Any new techniques that we use to sell homes. Well, what do you mean by that, Jeff? Well, watch. In the last year, have you added, like, I don't know, staging or Matterport or, something new to your approach? In the last year, have you done maybe some Instagram collaborations with your sellers? What's an Instagram collaboration? Well, that's a whole nother session. Continue watching these webinars because I guarantee we're going to touch on that probably in the social media one or the marketing one. What is an Instagram collaboration? Well, an Instagram collaboration would be me doing a collaboration with the seller so that way it shows up to all of their followers and my followers. Well, okay, that's a pretty unique technique. By the way, you should use it. That's why I'm teaching you that. But guess what? Now I can add it. Now I can add it to my techniques of what I do to sell homes. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've got a list of everything I do on social media to get homes sold, one of which includes me doing a collaboration with you. And by doing a collaboration with you, how many followers do you have on Instagram? Oh, I don't know, Jeff, maybe just like 400. I don't care whether they've got 400 or 4,000. If I do a collaboration with them, that means I can market their home for sale in front of all of their followers as well. And now it becomes something that goes on my listing plan of action as a tool to get their home sold. Yeah, but Jeff, what is the benefit of it going out to all of their followers? Well, let's step out of selling their house for a second, even though that's a benefit. Now, all of their followers are aware of who I am and what I do, and it's obvious that the homeowner chose me to sell their home. So now all of their followers are seeing that they chose me to sell their house. That's the benefit of doing an Instagram collect. So when I say new techniques, think of things that you're doing today that you weren't doing a year or two ago and add them to your plan of action and add them to things that you can show on social media. Next, what else do I show on social media? Door knocking. Yep, door knocking. So what do I mean by door knocking? I mean by like when you're working neighborhoods, getting footage of you door knocking. Like you guys see, if you follow me on social media, by the way, I'm at Realtor Jeff Glover if you want to follow me. Most of the stuff that I do on social media is for Glover U today. You know, our team, Glover Agency, is 855 Jeff Sells. But anyways, you'll see me getting footage of me walking places and going places. You know, you'll see me when I'm going on listing appointments, taking a picture of the listing package before I walk in. I'm getting footage when I'm out in the field, and there's no better footage than showing that you're a hard worker. So if you're out door knocking a neighborhood, get a selfie as you're knocking on doors. Get some video as you're out there on doors. Put that out there. Remember, the perception is you're a hard worker. Next, what about open houses? What about open houses? Every time you have an open house, get footage. Well, how does that help me get more sellers by getting footage of an open house? Well, because sellers, in many cases, want an agent who's going to be proactive and doing open houses for their home. So every time you're doing an open house, get footage of it. How about footage of you prospecting? Okay, you'll see from time to time, I'll put something out there where I have a headset on showing that I'm prospecting. Working hard for you on New Year's Day to find more sellers for my buyers and more buyers for my sellers. Get footage of you measuring or being on the photo appointment. Get footage of you, if you're doing measurements or you're on the photo appointment, get footage of that. Anything related to selling a house, get footage of it and get it out as often as possible. And then the last thing I have under what do I show is your physical pre-appointment package. Okay, your physical pre-appointment package. And here's what your pre-appointment package should include. Your physical pre-appointment package. By the way, if you're interested in joining me for our next round of listing mastery, just text the word listing to 55444. All right. I'll talk about that in a second towards the end. But in case you're wondering, Jeff, do you teach all of this stuff? Yes, I have a 16-week program. It's called Listing Mastery. Trust me when I tell you, you'll be reimbursed with one listing that you take from what I teach you. Okay, because it's not just all about the listing plan of action, although we do have 2 sessions on building a strong listing plan of action. Anyways, where I was going with that was the listing plan of action. What does it need to include? Okay, your listing plan of action needs to include all of your online reviews, all of your online reviews. Your listing plan of action needs to include what you're going to do to sell their home. I think everyone probably knows that and does that already. It needs to have what you're going to do to sell their home. Your listing plan of action should have a home sale timeline. A home sale timeline. You can fill out a preliminary one. I'm just going to show you ours. You can, based on your pre-qualifying conversation with them, you can fill out a preliminary one prior to even getting there. Give them the dates. You had a conversation with them. You asked them when they wanted to be moved by. You have an idea of how long it might take to sell their home. Give them a rough version of this before you even get there. Okay. Your listing pre-appointment package needs to include with specifics what you're going to do to sell their home on social media. It needs to include with specifics what you're going to do to sell their home on social media. Don't just say, you can't just say, yeah, we're going to market your home on social media. Consumers are too savvy today. They want specifics. No. What specifically are you going to do to promote my home on social media? What else should be included in your listing plan of action? Examples of other listings you've sold and the time it took to sell them. Examples of other listings you've sold. No one does it faster. Remember that marketing message? Example of other listings you've sold and the days on market. Days on market 8, 4, 3, 5, 6, 6. People want to see that you can get it done quickly. Okay, there's a reason why that's at the bottom of all of our listing plan of actions. By the way, these materials, we build these with you. We share them with you in Listing Mastery. So if you guys want to join me in Listing Mastery, you're going to get your hands on all this stuff. All right. Obviously in a 1 hour webinar, we don't have time to cover everything. I'm covering as much as I can with you in the time that we have. Okay. Next, part of your pre-appointment package. I call it the credibility profile. I call it the credibility profile. So just write down credibility profile and I'll show you what I mean. Ours is an infographic, that has things like, okay, our office locations, where we advertise, how long I've been in the business, our social media budget, years of experience, how much money we raise for charity. Okay, it's a credibility profile. It's like if you look at this and say, darn it, you guys are pretty credible. Now, for my newbies, okay, use your brokerage information, use your team information. It doesn't have to, you might not have a lot of personal success yet, and that's okay. I didn't either when I first started. But as we grew, I started adding things to this. At the time, there was probably only 6 things I could put on here. Okay, your credibility profile. Okay, we talked about your reviews, your results, days on market, show me days on market, show me list price to sales price ratio. And then finally, a bio. A bio. Yeah, if you text listing to 55444, that doesn't sign you up for the program. It just gets you the information about the program. So there's no commitment there if you guys want to check out what I'm talking about. It's the only Glover U program that I teach personally. All right. It's our longest standing. It's always our most popular in most cases. And it gets updated every single time I teach it. I teach it twice a year. That's it. It gets updated every single time. All right. So I shared with you, I was going to teach you the Plaqu method. I want to share just a few more things before we're done. Okay. That's all pre-appointment stuff. So PLACS, all right? The P stands for pre-appointment. The L stands for leads. We're not going to get into leads today. For those of you that join me in Listing Mastery, we spend 4 out of 16 weeks on where all of our seller leads come from. So I'll teach you every single lead source, how we get them. But by the way, what I covered in the pre-appointment stuff, that will help you get leads. If you just take what I taught in the last 45 minutes, you will get seller leads, all right? You just got to go all in on sellers. I can't stress that enough. So the L is leads. A is appointment. A is appointment. And so write down a few things under appointment. Write down a few things under appointment. Yes, Elijah asked, now he sent it to hosts and panelists so not everyone can see it. Are you covering direct outbound prospecting in lead gen for the program? Yes. I go through our top 25 sources of business and we narrow in on our top 5 sources of sellers. I go all in on that. And one of them does include outbound prospecting, yes. So under appointment, I have the listing appointment. This is specifically for sellers. I have the listing appointment. I have the price reduction presentation. I have the listing appointment. I have the price reduction presentation. And I have the offer presentation. The listing appointment, price reduction presentation, which often includes extending the listing if it's not sold, and I have the offer presentation. Those are 3 areas of opportunity if you want to be a stronger listing agent. So a lot of listing agents, the reason why I'm pointing this out, a lot of listing agents just focus on the listing appointment. No. You have to focus on the price reduction conversation. You have to focus on the offer presentation to sellers, not just the listing appointment. That goes under A in the Plaqu model. Under C in the Plaqu model is close and handle objections. Close and handle objections. Close and handle objections. Well, what do you mean by close, Jeff? I mean close by getting permission to follow up, if you want to write this down. This is the Plaqu model. These are the areas that you should be focusing on in 2025. Close for permission to follow up. Close for the appointment, asking for the appointment. Close for the signature. Close for the signature. Close for the price reduction. Close for the price reduction. Close for the offer terms. Close for the offer terms. So we have close for the follow-up, close for the appointment, close for the signature, close for the price reduction, close for the offer terms. And handle objections. Because every time you close, you're going to be presented with objections. Okay. That's a whole nother webinar. But I wanted to make sure you guys at least got the basics of the Plaqu model. And some of this stuff I'll be sharing through the daily message as well. Obviously, for those that are taking Listing Mastery, all of this stuff, we go deep on all of it. And then what does the S stand for in the Plaqu method? So we have the pre-appointment, we have leads, we have the appointment, we have close and handle objections. And then what's the S stand for? The S stands for spread the word. Spread the word. And what do I mean by spread the word? I mean, essentially everything I covered in the pre-appointment does that for you. In other words, tell everyone the success that you're having with sellers. That is without question as a listing agent. That's what sellers want to see. Okay, watch. Sellers are a more logical experience. Buyers are more of an emotional one. So isn't it interesting how buyers never really ask you, so tell me how many homes you've sold? Isn't it interesting how now sometimes they do during your buyer consultation, especially if they're shopping today. But it's not often, that they ask you things like, so what's your average list price to sales price ratio? They don't ask that. Buyers don't ask, what's your average days out shopping? Sellers do, days on market. So what I'm getting at is spread the word about the success that you're having with sellers, and that will attract more sellers. Why? Because more than half of the sellers you work with today, and I know some of you are going to say, well, Jeff, yeah, but a lot of my clientele is older and they don't use social media. Their kids do. And you better believe they're saying, Mom, Dad, who are you meeting with? And what are they doing? They're pulling up your social media and they're looking for all the things that I covered under P in Plaqu. So I'll have, because I know there's a lot of questions coming in about listing mastery and we're wrapping up anyway. So if we could have the graphic shown on the screen that shows the listing mastery program, that would be helpful. By the way, did you guys get some value today? If you got some value today, drop 777 in the chat if you guys got some value today of this new talk. By the way, our webinars, we produce the webinars and get you the information in the webinars based on what's happening in real time, all right? We're not regurgitating stuff from whenever. This is all real-time stuff that we're doing right now. There's a reason why I want you to focus in these areas. So every Monday at noon Eastern, okay, by the way, I can't think of a better way to start off the week, especially for those of you on the West Coast. Every Monday at noon Eastern, we have Listing Mastery. You're spending 45 minutes to an hour with me every single Monday live from 12 until 1 o'clock Eastern. It's 45 minutes of content that I present and teach, and about 7 to 10 minutes at the end for questions and dialogue and open discussion. All right, you're going to be in a group of, we cap these around 100 attendees, so there probably won't be more than 100 people, maybe 150 at the most. And we do that because we want to limit the amount of people in the room, because that way everyone can engage and get value from it. It's 16 weeks in a row, and as you can see there, if you kind of zoom in on the flyer, it's $399 a month for 4 months. That's it. $1,600. All right. I just did the math. That works out to like $100 a session. Watch. You will get not only 1 more listing or 5 more listings or 10 more listings. There's a reason why this has been our most popular program from the start. Okay. We've got some great coaching. We've got some great talent at the Glover U bench. And this happens to be the only one that I teach. Every time I teach it, it gets an update based on what we're doing to win right now. So if you want to join me every Monday, to build your listing skills. I mean, this is everything from the prospecting, the pre-appointment, where all of our leads come from, putting together your listing plan of actions, the things that I showed you today. What happens prior to the appointment, what happens during the appointment, what happens after the appointment. How do we get more? There's one session that we do, it's called the 2-to-1 formula. I talk about how to get 2 sales for every listing you take, because we teach a model that if you want to sell, let's just say 24 homes next year, all you have to do is take 12 listings. I'll teach you how to get 2 sales for every listing you take. I'm also going to teach you, for every listing you take, how to maximize everything you can do on social media. Okay, we follow a formula. We have 3 opportunities to post prior to taking a listing, during a listing, and after a listing. So there's 9 opportunities to do stuff on social media every time you take a listing. You see there on the document, text the word listing to 55444 if you want more information. You don't have to decide right this second, but it does start next week, Monday at noon Eastern. So you got a week to figure it out. I would recommend you get in there before it fills up. I don't know what they cap it at. Maybe they cap it at 125, 150. I know it's somewhere in the like 100 to 150 range. So if you want to make sure that you're securing a spot, I would get in there sooner rather than later. Again, just text the word listing to 55444. If you're not in the US, just email us, info@gloveru.com, and ask for the Listing Mastery Program details. Just email us, info@gloveru.com, if you're not in the US, just because the texting thing doesn't work outside of the US. Other than that, it's been fun. I'm glad to see all the value you guys got today. Thank you for dropping the 777 in there. We still have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 more webinars to go. Take advantage of them. They're free. There's obviously good content in each of them. I believe Wednesdays is all about social media and the new copywriting formula. Just go to gloveru.com/webinar. We're doing them Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Go get signed up for them. I will see you guys in Listing Mastery next week or sometime soon. See ya. Bye-bye.